3. Trace your creative roots. The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. Martin Luther King Jr. Pay the bills, feed your family, exercise, meditate, paint, draw, play music, learn to cook, speak Spanish, travel to Peru, spend 6 months teaching English in Southeast Asia, record an album, craft artisanal clay pots, photograph your muse, study for an MBA, start a blog. You could spend your life on thousands of worthwhile creative endeavors. The painful realities of life complicate your ability to do what you want. And your options narrow the older you get. If you want to become a more successful creative person, you will face tough decisions about what you'd like to do, like spending 6 months teaching English or traveling around Peru, and what you must do, compose an album, write a novel, etc. Talent, opportunity, and riches aren't enough. Talented artists might get off the starting blocks quicker than the rest of us, but their talents are of little use without an idea of where they're going. The rich artist or the artist with more opportunities than his or her peers might be able to create flashier works than others, at least at first, but he or she will squander their talents or garb themselves in the emperor's new clothes unless they know what it's all for. If you don't know where you're going, the current of life will sweep you along like an object afloat in a river, sometimes dashing you against the rocks and sometimes holding you back in a sluggish stream. Your only real choice is to cast a rudder into the river, and while you're unable to control the current, you can at least steer your humble craft in the right direction. Your guiding purpose. I once spent a year unemployed. I was in a secure job that paid relatively well, but it was awful. When I couldn't stand the thought of staying even one more day, I broke from this job and found work as a press officer for a charity. It was supposed to be my dream job, but after several months my manager let me go. He told me I didn't have what it takes. I contacted my old employer and asked for my job back, but I'd already burned the boats. There was no way I could return to my old and safe role. I spent months out of work, considering what career I should follow. I knew I wanted to write, but I didn't know if this meant working in journalism, public relations, or some other career. I was adrift. I eventually discovered people who are happy in their chosen professions face these types of crises armed with a personal mission statement, a guiding purpose or code. They have done the hard work of educating themselves about what drives and inspires them. They know, too, that creativity doesn't just appear at will. It takes months and years of hard and purposeful work. Originally from Chicago, singer and poet Patti Smith, b. 1946, has dedicated her life to the pursuit of art through poetry and punk rock. During the 1970s, she began performing poetry in clubs around New York and teaching herself how to play the guitar. At first, Smith played alone in her room before performing for friends and then reciting poetry in small New York clubs. Finally, she embraced the guitar and the microphone as her means of creative expression. After assembling her band, Patti knew at once they shared a guiding purpose. In Just Kids, she wrote, "We imagined ourselves as the sons of liberty with a mission to preserve, protect, and project the revolutionary spirit of rock and roll. We would call forth in our minds the image of Paul Revere, riding through the American night, petitioning the people to wake up, to take up arms. We too would take up arms, the arms of our generation, the electric guitar and the microphone." Artists Henri Matisse, 1869 to 1954, and Pablo Picasso, 1881 to 1973, are two fine examples of artists with a guiding purpose. Matisse worked solidly for 50 years at his craft. Even after abdominal cancer and a difficult operation left the elderly artist bedridden, he continued to create works of art in the form of paper cutouts until his death. Matisse found a joie de vivre in his art that wasn't possible anywhere else, and he famously said, "Work cures everything." Picasso, sensing his mortality, used his art to look death in the eye. The last of his works tackle subjects like human sexuality, physical decay, and his looming death. He also left instructions for anyone in search of creative success. Our goals can only be reached through a vehicle of a plan, in which we must fervently believe, and upon which we must vigorously act. There is no other route to success. Both artists paid attention to what drove them. Each figured out the purpose of their lives and pursued it to the end. The personal mission statement. Admit it. You're afraid of spending so much time alone with ideas that might never pay off when you could be earning real money and experiencing more success in a regular job. You're afraid of the disapproving looks from your friends and family when you go into your room or studio alone, again. You're scared of wasting your time, of making the wrong decisions, of failing and, when you're honest with yourself, of not listening to the inner voice that whispers in the middle of the night, "Create, damn it." Creative work involves so much ambiguity that you need a way of keeping motivated. You need a guiding purpose to navigate around your fears and explain, if only to yourself, why you do what you do. No hard and fast rules ensure keeping motivated and figuring out what kind of creative person you are, but a personal mission statement will help. A powerful support system, the personal mission statement will help you navigate the choppy currents of work and daily life. When you face a big career decision, you'll be able to steer your craft in the right direction. You can use your mission statement to prevent being dashed upon the rocks or from getting stuck in shallow waters. Now, you might be thinking a mission statement sounds like something a company or organization would adopt, but in times of crisis or indecision, your personal mission statement will serve as your oar. When I was unemployed, I used the exact process below to write my personal mission statement, find a way out of the darkness and decide what I was going to do with my career, or lack thereof. Are you ready to get started? Step 1. Map your life. Although you can do this at any time, a moment of crisis, like unemployment, is an ideal opportunity because you have the freedom to rethink every area of your life. On a large piece of paper, map out the themes of your life and work down from there. Typically, these include relationships, career, health, finances, education, family, and religion. Expand on each theme to include your commitments, responsibilities, and any work you've accomplished so far. Finished. Great. Next, consider the roles you play in your life. These might include being a spouse, parent, employer/employee, student, brother/sister, and so on. Expand on each of these roles in terms of your aims, beliefs, principles, progress to date, and causes of concern. It's not necessary to go into detail, the point is to capture only what's important in your life and what you've achieved so far, to pay attention to what drives you and to what keeps you up at 3 a.m. Step 2. Draw on external resources. Next, gather quotes, information and lessons from books you read, talks you attended, places you visited, music or art that inspires you or people you met. Consider what inspires you and gets you out of bed in the morning. What you crave and what you would keep doing even if you won the lotto. Look at the creative role models in your professional or personal life and consider what you can learn from them. Read their biographies and examine what drives those you admire. See how they overcame personal and professional difficulties. Their lives should serve as a map that you can follow. Spend time reading mission statements of others and see how they relate to your life. Undoubtedly your heroes took up many of the same roles and responsibilities that you now hold. Journal writing is a great reflective practice for any creative professional, and if you keep one, read through your older entries and look for a common theme or thread. You should also consider organizations or people you don't want to emulate and determine how you can avoid making their mistakes. Remember, there's as much to learn from failure as from success. Step 3. Ask clarifying questions. American mythologist and writer Joseph Campbell, 1904 to 1987, famously told people to follow your bliss, only to remark years later that he should have said follow your blisters. In other words, it's one thing to talk about following your passion, but you'll also need to take stock of what is causing you to struggle. To do that, ask yourself searing questions about the themes of your life and each of your roles and areas of responsibility. Sample questions include: when am I at my best/worst as a parent/employer, employee/spouse/artist, etc.? Where do my natural talents lie? What's important to me in my work/home life? What energizes me, and what makes me feel apathetic? What is my passion? Who inspires me in my work, relationships, etc.? Which role models can I emulate? What values guide my work/my studies/my relationships? Are there core values or principles I am not prepared to violate? These can include charters that you join. How do these values relate to my day-to-day life? What mistakes have I made in my life so far, and how I can avoid repeating them? You can write these questions down in a journal or expand on them using a mind map. If you're less visually oriented, you could write a personal question and answer document. Use bullet points or just record your thoughts using pen and paper. Step 4. Consider the wider canvas. In the trenches of daily life, most people don't have time to think about where and who they'd like to become over the next 12 months, 5 or even 10 years. Now that you know better, include a wish list of places to visit, creative projects to accomplish, and dreams to realize. Consider what you could create if you had unlimited time, money, and resources. Identify projects in each area of your life that will help you accomplish these dreams. Your list might include things like releasing a best-selling album or publishing a popular thriller series. Don't just think big. Think IMAX. After you're done with grandiosity, consider how your future creative project will impact other important areas of your life. What kind of compromises might you need to make? What kind of obstacles will you have to overcome? For example, you might need to go back to college to study music and improve your skills, the trade-off being to give up some financial resources and time away from your family. Can you balance your creative goals with your personal values? Nobody is going to answer this question for you. Finally, remember to consider what happens after you accomplish a major life goal. Will the sacrifices it costs to paint a masterpiece be worth it, and what will you do next? Irish singer and artist Glenn Hansard, b. 1970, has dedicated his entire life to creating music, but after he won an Oscar for writing the song Falling Slowly, he fell into a depression and drank heavily. He figured out how to live with success only after meeting Bruce Springsteen. He said that everything I had ever been in my life, that guy struggling against the world, had died the night we won the Oscar. I was in a different part of my life, a different suit. He said I should learn to embrace it, enjoy it. Step 5. Bring it all together. You're almost there. Gather your information into a single document or source. Then, consolidate your roles, areas of responsibility, values, goals, and dreams into several principles. Start with statements like: I believe. I am happiest when. I stand by. I am at my best when. If you're stuck, write a few lines about what you'd like people to say about your life at your 90th birthday party or your funeral. The final result could be a mantra or motto that you repeat or a longer piece of work that you read or review regularly. You could try a mind map, picture, logo, or even a simple sentence like the photographer Robert Mapplethorpe, 1946 to 1989, who wanted to live for art. There's no right or wrong approach. Instead, what you're looking to do is document a simple system of beliefs or personal rules to live by, and in turn create. Step 6. Put your mission statement into practice. Congratulations! By now, you should have a working personal mission statement, but you're probably wondering, what should I do with it? You could hang your mission statement on your wall or keep it somewhere private but accessible, or you could put it in your drawer. Alternatively, you could expand on your personal mission statement and develop one for your family. Once you've created your mission statement, start setting goals for your creative projects and take action to achieve what you want. Then, when you know what to do, go and do it, because nothing disappoints more than an artist who knows what they want to achieve but never gets started. When trouble arrives, as it inevitably will, you'll be self-reliant and have an oar to guide you through choppy waters. Of course, all of this activity is useless without reflection. You don't want to spend years working on a creative project without occasionally asking yourself, is this worth doing? Am I living up to my personal beliefs? Do I know what's driving me? Put a few minutes aside once a month to review and update your mission statement and see if you're guiding your life in the right direction. You should have a system of personal beliefs that you refine as your life changes. Work beyond chance and fortune. You might be able to see the words in your head, have your colors arranged, a story at your fingertips or a muse for the camera, but you must act. Get the words out and your big ideas down. Before you do, wait. Pay attention to what's driving you. Decide what you want to achieve because, as the Stoic philosopher Lucius Seneca wrote, when a man does not know what harbor he is making for, no wind is the right wind. Now don't get me wrong, a personal mission statement is but one means of becoming unstuck and steering yourself towards the right harbor. If it doesn't work for you, adopt a simple creed like the singer Patti Smith who lives for art, or Pablo Picasso who had a creative plan he believed in until the very end. A mission statement, a guiding purpose, or even a simple artistic creed will help you sharpen your skills, develop your natural talents and spend your limited creative resources wisely. Know that when you cast an oar into the river of life, you've already achieved more than those who are content to let chance and fortune carry them along. My personal mission statement. Below is my personal mission statement. When I showed this to a friend, he said he was impressed. I felt pleased with myself until he added, "You've a long way to go before you get there. So take heart if yours feels ambitious. It doesn't have to look like mine." I've included mine as an example for you. My mission is to pursue writing in all its forms and to create something from nothing. Writing is my shield and my sword, and this is how I will develop happiness. I will teach my children how to become the kind of adults they were meant to be. I will demonstrate to them the virtues and challenges of temperance, love, and patience. In doing so, I will foster these traits in myself. I will seek physical and mental balance and avoid excess. I will avoid false and baseless pursuits and materialism because I know everything turns to ash. I will strive to reduce and refine rather than gather and accumulate. I will practice empathy and conscientiousness. I will make sober decisions and embrace the idea of responsible risk-taking, that is, I will live by Søren Kierkegaard's creed: to dare is to lose one's footing momentarily. Not to dare is to lose oneself. I will lead a life of quiet integrity, for to speak ill of another is to damage myself. I will strive to understand the viewpoint of those I am against most. I will use moments of anger towards others as opportunities to learn more of my soul. I will recognize my flaws, that I can become obsessive and impulsive, and I will seek to turn these flaws into virtues by becoming focused and brave. I will seek opportunities to practice kindness, temperance, and patience because these are skills I must develop. My time is finite. I will operate in my circle of influence rather than my circle of concern. I will put first things first. I will reflect upon the walls I am laying my ladders against. I wither in stagnation, and I am energized when I am learning. I will burn myself completely like a good bonfire and leave no trace of myself behind. Shunryu Suzuki. I will lean in. Creative takeaways. Instead of letting life sweep you along, cast an oar into the river and guide yourself in the right direction. Do you have trouble making big decisions? Then, refer to your mission statement when you must make a decision as small as whether to practice when you don't feel like it or whether to invest in additional training.